What's up, guys? Countdown in about 25 seconds here when I kick off an interview with my friend Danny. Danny's an Amazon seller who's doing 5 figures a month, sourcing all of his inventory entirely from the road. Now, the reason I want to do this interview with Danny is he's extremely relatable. How often you watch a video on YouTube that's like, interview with 7-figure Amazon seller, and like, they're so great, there's money pouring out of their face, and you sit back and you're like, good for you, but like, you're not relatable to me, right? Danny's extremely relatable. He's relatively early on in his Amazon selling journey, and he's already doing 5 figures a month. So you're not going to sit back and look at somebody like Danny and go, I can't relate. You're going to look back and go, wow, I'm staring at myself. And so he's going to confront you with what's possible. And Danny's going to tell almost everything in this interview. You can probably build a whole business just off this interview. Let's get into it. And before we dive in, you can build a whole business off of what I give away for free. So hit the link below this video, go to FBAmastery.com, get all this free stuff, all the courses, all the free reports, and subscribe to my YouTube channel and like this video. All right, let's introduce Danny. All right, guys, what's up? We have a very special interview with my friend Danny. Now, Danny's got an interesting story that combines the two things I love most on this earth, which are road trips and selling on Amazon. So, Danny, tell me if I'm right here. This is your 100th day on the road. Is that right?
100 days as of today.
Okay, so we timed it because it's a very special day. So 100th day anniversary of leaving home and sourcing inventory on the road full time as an FBA seller. And awesome story. I can't say I'm jealous because I do this myself, but I'm jealous of the degree to which Danny has turned sourcing inventory on the road into a major business. So Danny, you're doing, or at least done at least one, we'll get to your numbers in a second, but you had at least one 5-figure month. Is that right recently?
Yeah, so I've been 5 figures every month since November.
Okay, so now we got to tell the story. Okay, so this is how Danny and I came to be on this call right now. So Danny texted me, and I knew that he sold on Amazon, but I didn't really know. I kind of thought he just dabbled in it. So Danny sold on Amazon. I knew that, but he texted me one day, and he's like, dude, can I stay at your place tonight? Now, Danny and I live multiple states apart. I don't ask a lot of questions because I'm a nomad. Most of my friends are nomads. He happened to be in town. I didn't ask why. He shows up, and he's like, dude, I got a car full of stuff. Can I turn your living room into an FBA workstation for the night? I was like, this sounds familiar because I've done this to so many people before. So I was like, of course. So he proceeds to turn this table I'm talking to you from, this whole living room, into a massive FBA workstation. And I didn't even really inquire too much as to what the heck he was doing, but he starts to bring boxes up, and then one day turned into a week, and he proceeded to go out every single day in the town that I live in and bring home carfuls of inventory. And I was like, wow, he's built this into a serious business. So, but anyway, he leaves town, and I would say every other day for the last 3 months, I've gotten a text from Danny that is either a screenshot of his sales, a photo of his car bursting into seams with inventory, or some funny anecdote from the road about him sourcing inventory at some weird town in the middle of nowhere. So here we are now. Danny is been on the road for 100 days. He's doing 5-figure months, sourcing entirely, again, from the road. That's why I love this story. So, Danny, I don't know where to start. So let's start here. Let's walk back. Tell me about your Amazon selling history, because I don't feel like I really know this. I know you started out with books, and you've since branched out to other categories. But tell me about your Amazon history leading up to when you showed up at my front door.
Okay, so I actually got into FBA because of you. So 2020, COVID, pandemic, everyone has to take a forced vacation. I'm out of work, and all of a sudden I get a check for $1,200, right? So everyone around me is running around, and they're all like, oh my God, what am I going to do with only $1,200? How am I going to pay my bills? I decided to turn it into more. So I just immediately just went whole hog into the FBA Mastery site. I read everything that I could. I watched all the videos. I just went out and I just hit the bricks, and I went to every thrift store near me. I started just manually sourcing through Amazon, just grabbing all the books that I could and immediately just turning those around. And I was all books for maybe about a year or so, and just kind of did it kind of like as a side gig. And I kind of fell out of it for a while. And then for a minute, I started doing eBay. And eBay is cool because you can make a lot of money really quick. but it's really annoying because you have to send all of your own orders. And I'm just not about that. I'm trying to ball, and you cannot be a baller when you're spending like 4 hours a day at the post office. It just doesn't happen. Um, so, anyways, back March 1st. March 1st, I started sourcing for FBA again. And I just went out, looking for things outside of books and slowly just growing it. It's so weird now because, I remember at the time, I think I spent like $200 to $300 on that first FBA shipment when I came back, and I was like, "This is crazy." When I showed up at your place, I'd spent like just south of $900 on all that inventory. I just finished. I dropped it off at UPS this morning. I just finished dropping off what was a $1,600 buy for a shipment. So just the way that it scales, it's insane.
It's amazing how, like, yeah, you look back and you're like, $100 is a really big deal when you don't know how easy it is to turn 100 into 300. So you're like, ugh, you want to hold on to it, and you don't realize, like, the more you spend, the more you make. So you're kind of learning that lesson in real time right now. Okay, so you were doing books, and then you sort of branch out. And so you mentioned March 1st. So as of the time of recording this, that would be about 11 months ago. So,
Yeah.
so you made a ton of ground in the last 11 months. So bring me up to the point where you showed up at my door. I don't even think the trip you were on at that point, I think it turned into an inventory sourcing trip after, or like right when
Yes.
you arrived. Didn't start out that way, right?
I was like, I think like a week into my trip at that point, and I was a couple hours away for just like a convention that I was going to, and after that, just being on the road, noticing just I can hit all these sources throughout the country, and I figured, why stop? Why go back now?
So the lifestyle you're living right now had its start or its impetus like either like a couple days before you got here or while you were here or something. But this is like relatively new. That's kind of why I want to. The reason I'm emphasizing this is I think your story is very relatable because even though you've been selling on Amazon for a minute, it really didn't kick off until like the last 90 days. Is that fair to say?
Kind of like it was so weird. I just posted a thread on my Twitter because I recently passed over 100 grand for the last 12 months, which is insane because being that it started in March, it was really more 100 grand in about 10 months. But in that, I posted my graph from the last year, and just seeing, you can very clearly see, there's the point where it's kind of going up, and then we get to where I'm on the road, and it just vertical.
So we're gonna get to the specifics here in a second because I think that's probably what people want to know. But just right now, so every day you wait, so you're doing again. When I say on the road, like you're not going home and then going back out, like you are on the road, right? You've been gone for over what I guess 100 days at this point.
Yeah. So I live basically out in like the Great Lakes. I'm currently in Boise, Idaho.
I didn't know if you wanted to share that because yeah, I knew you're in Boise. So yeah, people don't understand like, or I want people to understand rather that you're not playing it safe. Like, oh, I'm going to stay within a 3-hour radius. Like you are in the woods half the time when you
Yeah.
text me. Okay, so dude, we're gonna go into all the specifics here in just a second about what you do, how you do it, but just walk me through a day in the life on the road.
All right. So day in the life, I wake up, I get breakfast, and then if I don't have to ship right then, I immediately go out. I start sourcing. Usually, like I like to get in early, so I will sometimes. I'll sleep in the park, and I'll just go in right when they open up, and I just hit everything, and I basically try to fill up as much as I can in my car, and I go straight to the UPS store, and I like to prep and ship from the UPS store, so prepping in the UPS store is not for the faint of heart. If you're thinking about doing this, okay, you need to approach this with a warrior mentality. So when you go to UPS, you will spend about an hour and a half prepping goods. And in that hour and a half, you will hear approximately 3,000 people come in and and say the words, "Hi, I have an Amazon return." And so I have this constant mental image while I'm prepping. I feel like you see those videos from D-Day where like the guys land, the thing comes down, and they start running out like Saving Private Ryan, and everyone in front of them just gets shot by all the Nazis, and they just have to keep running through it. That's how I feel prepping at UPS. I just know half these are probably my products coming back right now, but I just have to go for it. Theirs wins.
You're a soldier, man.
Get rich or die trying. So I do that. I am a glutton for trouble, so after I'm done shipping, I sometimes just go back out and source. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I found that I just really, really, really like eating food. So I will just find like the 5 best restaurants in whatever town that I'm in, or sometimes just a Waffle House, because that's a lot of America. It's just Waffle House. And I will just go stuff my face. And I'll kind of just do that. I'm really big on the National Park Service app, so I'll find cool stuff to do. People don't realize there's, outside of like the national parks, there are also just like park units, historical parks, shit like that. And you can just find a lot of really cool stuff to check out wherever you're at. So I do that. Maybe if I run out of time or if I run out of stuff to do, I just go find some like new weird place to source. I'm always just, anytime like I run out of stuff, I'm just kind of like, I kind of look around and I'll find some like weird place. I'll just be like, oh, like, you know, weird like mom and pop musical instrument store. And I'm kind of like, I wonder what it would be like sourcing there. And I'll just go hit it and see what it's like, see what I can find. And just, sometimes you find really cool shit in really weird places. But yeah, I do that until I just pass out and wake up and do it again the next day.
So after you're done sourcing, you usually go to the hotel. Would you say you stay in hotels most nights?
It really depends. So I started staying in hotels when I was somewhere in Alabama. Because mostly, like, you know, originally I planned to do like a bunch of camping on this trip. So I looked for like cool areas to camp and stuff. But for whatever reason, I got this like weird mental block where I only like to do hotels when I know that I'm making at least $2,000 on the shipment. And I feel like that's a ridiculous number because, you know, you can make a hotel worth it for way less than $2,000. But I don't know. That's what I do. I pretty much just, I get hotels if my car is just super full of shit and it's super late at night and I just don't want to deal with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when I was just getting started making money on Amazon. And I remember being like kind of the scarcity mode where I was like what you're talking about, where it's like everything's got to pay for itself many, many times over, like many times over for it to be justified. And I just remember thinking like, this book thing is so good, it might end tomorrow. So I got to like hoard the money. Like I can't. And I got out of that mindset eventually, but I completely can empathize with where you're at with that. So hold on, I got a list of notes here on a vegan pizza box. Okay, what's up, guys? So weird transition. My computer just died. So Danny and I are back. Same location, just different clothes. Okay, so Danny, here's the thing. You and I talked before this interview, and we talked about, I said, is there anything off limits? And you said, maybe don't divulge my specific sources. So if I'm watching this as a viewer, I'm sitting back and I'm like, Danny's doing amazing. He's racking up baller revenue right now. He must have some secret source that we don't have access to, and that's why he's doing so well. So I just want to clarify for the viewers. I know your sources, Danny. This is not a slight against you at all. You have amazing sourcing skills. However, where you're going is nothing special. Okay, can we agree on that? You're not going anywhere that lots of other people aren't going. So
yeah, no, this is, every town has these places. You can do this. I believe in you. I believe in each and every one of you. Just get the fuck out there and do the thing.
Okay, so I just want to clarify that. So with that said, you've got your secret sauce really is not what your sources are. Your secret sauce, which we can talk about, is your negotiating skills. Now, I want to just kind of give you room just to like talk here, but I just want to let people know watching this, you don't pay sticker price for basically anything, right?
Absolutely not. Never.
Okay, so this is the secret here. So you you're kind of an extrovert. You have no problem walking up to store managers and just going, "Hey, I know the sticker price is this, but I want to pay this. Let's work out a deal." Is that basically how it works?
I don't know if I call myself an extrovert. It's definitely a learned skill, something that I had to build up. I am not a superhero, and you are not afraid, okay? I learned how to do this. I picked this skill up. I grew this skill. If I could step into this, you could step into this. I don't care if you're nervous. I don't care if you're self-conscious. You can pick this up. So super, super simple. All you have to do is just walk up, go to the customer service desk, say, hey, I'd like to speak to a manager. I'd like to speak to someone in charge. For a smaller place, you can probably find the owner. And just let them know, hey, I know you're trying to move inventory. I would love to help you out. I would love to take this stuff off your hands, but I need to know, how far you can come down on it. And when I do this, there is very specific language that I like to use. And you can actually get that. I mean, it's super simple. I can tell you right here how it all works. I post some stuff on my Twitter, which is at FBA Danny. If you're curious, go check it out there. But basically, all I do, right? You want to be assumptive, okay? You do not have to sell to people, okay? You do not have to sell to people. People sell to themselves. All you have to do is let them know. So I walk up, and I try to frame it in a way that makes it positive for them. So I say, typically, all I say, it's like 2 sentences, kind of run-on sentences, but still 2 sentences. I just say, hey, I know this is all clearance. I know you're trying to get rid of it. I would love to help you out and take it all off your hands. I just have to know, how far are you able to come down on it? When we do that, what we do is we're reminding them, hey, you want to get rid of this. This is all stuff that you are pushing out the door right now. Frame that into their mind. Let them know, they are already trying to take a hit. They just want the fuck out, right? And then when you say, you don't say, hey, can I get a deal? Hey, can you help me out here? I say, how far are you able to come down on it? Right? You're putting it into their mind again. You are able to come down on it. It's not a question of are you able to or not. It's just how far are you able to come down? You really build them up, prime them, let them know that they have that power to come down on it. Let them know that they can get all this stuff out the door right now. I also like to point out to them, a lot of the time I'm taking their entire stuff. I mean, I don't really know what else there is to it. I mean, there are little things you can do. I think, what is it? Influence by Bob Cialdini is probably a great jumping off point if you're looking for little things to say, little ways to weasel in there to help. Because, even though we're buying, you have to remember that you're constantly selling. Everyone is selling something. Usually we're used to thinking of selling as we are selling products or services in exchange for money. Here, you are selling money in exchange for product. And you have to pump them up so that that money is worth more product than what they're used to. So get into that sales mindset, get into that warrior mindset. Tell yourself, look in the mirror and say, hey, I am on a divine mission, right? I have been given this righteous mission from the gods to just profit at all costs and just steamroll over this retail store and take all their clearance and just ball hard. And, with God on our side, who could be against us? Come on.
That's right. God is on our side. I love what you said about anchoring them and like framing things in terms of like asking the right questions. In other words, like how far are you willing to come down? You've already established they're willing to come down. That's not that's not negotiable.
Exactly.
And it's embedded into the question they're willing to come down.
I cut my teeth in sales working in nonprofits. And basically I used to run teams of canvassers, which when you go to like large cities and some little cretin with a clipboard jumps out from an alley and asks when to give money to the starving kids in Africa, I was the guy who taught all those people. So what we used to do is, I trained kids, and I would always tell people, you say to people, hey, do you have 2 minutes? And that's the thing. It should never take longer than 2 minutes. 2 minutes is a stretch. So I just really, was doing this. I kind of dipped my feet, did a little bit of this, little bit of that, and I sat down and thought, what's the simplest way I can frame this? Because, I mean, even, like I said, it's 2 sentences. It probably takes me maybe 15 seconds to say. And even then, I mean, I'll get halfway through and I'll see these managers, start nodding and pulling out a book, pulling out a scanner, pulling out something because they already know where this is headed, right? So don't overdo it. Just let them know why you're there, let them know what's going on, and let them do the rest.
Dude, that's awesome. And I think you said at one point that you pay full sticker price like less than 10% of the time. Is that right?
Oh, definitely.
Awesome. Dude,
Like, I mean, I remember all that stuff I showed up at your place with. Literally every single thing I brought up to the guy, because it was just this small little mom and pop discount store in the middle of nowhere. I was literally driving down the road. I saw a sign and I just U-turned in the parking lot. And every single item, I was able to go up to the owner and I was just like, hey, what do you think about this? And he'd be like, I'll take 70% off. Every single thing.
that's how life works, right? It's like you get what you ask for. There's this old Anthony Robbins video that I've seen, if people know who Anthony Robbins is, where he talks about how a homeless man approached him at some point, early on in his career and said, hey, man, do you have $1? And Anthony Robbins pulled out a billfold where you could clearly see there were many, many hundreds of dollars and many, many 20s, this giant roll of bills. And Anthony Robbins said, are you sure you just want $1? And the guy goes, yeah, man, just give me $1, give me $1. And he's like, all right, you want $1? And the guy goes, yeah, give me $1. And Anthony Robbins was prepared to give the guy like $1,000, as he tells the story. But the guy asked for $1, so he gives him $1.
Yeah.
So, lesson in there, right?
Okay. Quick, before we go into anything else, I just want to say for everyone, Peter pointed out, my sources for the most part are nothing special. A lot of these places I go to, I mean, it's Walmart, it's Big Lots, it's Dick's Sporting Goods, it's whatever. And there are literally, I would guarantee 1,000 other Amazon sellers in this country sourcing the same place that I'm sourcing, seeing the same exact products I'm seeing, but they're seeing them at sticker price. They're seeing them at that clearance price, and they're passing them. What this does is this gives you access to products at margins that other people don't realize are there. So this is why, there are certain things I'll see and I'll grab the next week, price tanks 40% because everyone else jumped on it. When you get things like this, when you break that price down for yourself, so many people are passing on that. You end up being one of 2, 3 sellers maybe selling it. So that's a big thing to keep in mind is, you're protecting yourself.
Yeah, dude, totally. I mean, this is like an unfair advantage you have over all of the other sellers. This seems to be what you can credit to your success first and foremost, and the fact that you're hitting the road. And actually, that's kind of a next thing I want to ask you is, do you think you could do this and sustain these numbers if you were just staying within a 40-mile radius of your town? I mean, I feel like what's going on here is you've got a couple unfair advantages. You've got your negotiation skills, but then you've got the fact that you're on the road, and so you're hitting like sources that you have not hit before every single day. Do you think you could do what you're doing right now if you stayed in one place?
So I'm curious to see that myself. The thing is, with what I'm doing right now, because I am on the road, I mean, I don't want this to entirely be a sourcing trip. One of the reasons we do this, one of the reasons we sell, and we work for ourselves is because we want that freedom. Peter's probably the only person I know who hates the idea of being employed more than I do. So I don't want to just let this consume me as much as that is kind of what I do. And so in order to kind of keep myself from doing that while on the road, I really whittled it down to my 2 or 3 favorite sources. And for the most part, I only go to those places so that I can kind of, not get super bogged down and spend 3 weeks in every city just looting the entire place. So with that in mind, I think if I were just, if I stayed at home in my place, I could maybe do it because I'd be going to a lot more sources. But I'd be curious to see, because right now, I'll send in literally $5,000 or $6,000 in profit every week. So I don't know if I were only going to the sources I'm going to in one city, how long it would take them to accumulate that much inventory that I could grab. But I think if I went home and I just had access to all my other sources, it could be a thing. It's something to check out. I think
Yeah.
everyone, should go out and try it and let me and Peter know what happens.
Yeah, for sure. And you can always reach. I'm gonna plug your Twitter pretty heavy when I
Right.
send this out. But yeah, FBA Danny
Yep.
on Twitter. Okay, yeah. So you're gonna share more stuff there, and you already have shared a bunch of stuff there. But the point is, you can reach out to Danny there if you have any success stories
Yeah.
from his wisdom and you'd like to share with him. Okay, so let me. So the reason I'm excited to talk to you is I feel like I'm looking at. It sounds weird, but like in a sense, looking at myself, a bunch of years ago, and I'm remembering how exciting it was when I got started. Not. I mean, you're advancing way faster than I did when I, when I was getting started. But the thing that is kind of reminiscent is like just that zeal. And so I remember because we were texting a little bit ago, and when you're on the road, and I had mentioned that in my mind, there's all these like you've used the word baller a couple times, so I'm going to use it myself. But there's like multiple tiers of baller, and for me, like the first tier of baller is I remember when I looked at my bank account, it wasn't invested; it was just literally cash in the bank. But when I looked at my bank account, and I realized if I could pay my rent for an entire year, if it doesn't matter if I got out of bed or not. If everything fell apart, I could pay my rent for an entire year. And when you're getting started, homelessness is like the number one thing the hurdle you're trying to overcome, right?
Yeah.
So that to me that's like first tier baller, and you're like, oh, I texted that to you, and you're like, oh, dude, yeah, I'm past that. My question for you is, do you have goals? Like, do you have sort of like milestones or like that you're trying to hit in your business? Are you just like going full force, whatever happens, happens, or is like what's the next level for you?
So I kind of do, and I remember what you were talking about because I told you it was I could do that with my pending payouts on Amazon. I had enough to pay rent for a year.
That's right.
But so I think it's weird because at first, like I remember you and I were holding up this like 5-figure month. Hit 10K a month. That's all that matters. And then I remember like texting you. I was sitting in a Whole Foods parking lot in Albuquerque, New Mexico, when I hit 20K a month for the first time. So I think maybe getting to a sustained like a rate where I could do $100,000 a year just in profit alone, which would be 8,000 and some change. I know I was super pissed. At the end of January, I checked, and I had like $9,970 in profit or something. Because 10K profit a month would be cool. But I also kind of discovered, I think there's that Bukowski quote or whatever, find what you love and let it kill you. And I kind of touched on this a second ago when I was talking about just being consumed. But at the end of the day, I mean, anything you're ever going to be successful in life, you got to do for the love of the game. And I've noticed that, I'm kind of like, I finish sourcing, I ship everything off, and then I'm kind of like looking around the town that I'm in, wherever I'm at, I'm kind of like, well, maybe I'll go source. Because the fact is, I mean, at this point, like we said, my bills are paid. I could take the rest of the year off and I'd be good. I don't really have need anymore. I'm not being driven so much by, necessity or fear or any of that. I think at this point, I'm kind of just seeing, like, how big can I make this thing? How far can I push this? And I'm just curious. And I just want to build it out and see how fucking far I can go off of random clearance and overstock items as one guy driving around the country in a hatchback.
Dude, amazing. I mean, my 2 cents, it would be to get enough money in the bank so you could hire people and kind of scale this thing and just duplicate your efforts and train people.
I tried to hire my little brother, and it didn't go too well. But no, I actually had this like weird moment. I was sitting there, so basically this the store manager, I told you about this the other day. The store manager, she basically told me, I brought her some stuff. She's like, I can do 90% off all this. So I kind of looked at her and I was like, if I just want to go through the store and just raid all the clearance in the store, could you do 90% off of any clearance item the same way I took the entire stock? And she was like, well, maybe not 90, but at least 75, and maybe 90 depending on the item. So, I round everything up, and she's putting it all in and figuring everything out. And I'm sitting there, like on my notebook, just doing math, trying to figure out how many boxes I need to send everything in. She goes, I tell her what's going on. She's like, you're really organized. And I thought it was really funny because Peter has seen me, prep, and he knows I'm not really organized. But I had this realization, like in my mind and in her mind and in reality, I am, just a guy driving around the country buying clearance items and flipping them on the internet. But on paper and also in reality, I am a guy who sold 6 figures in the last 5 months. So it's weird. Just it's that mindset you got to get into.
Oh, dude, it's like, I mean, it's crazy the difference between what these businesses look like on the outside looking in and what they're actually like on the inside, right? Like, I mean, I remember, oh, dude, like it's so funny because I just remember like when I was running my old online arbitrage tool called Zen Arbitrage, and I had my Amazon business going, and everything was like numbers wise seemed insane. And I never advertised my numbers, but they looked insane. But I remember like I was like on this. I remember one time I was like went to buy groceries, and I was anyway. The point I had this snapshot image of myself like holding 2 bags of groceries walking on a freeway, and the bag breaks, and I'm picking up like cans of refried beans off the freeway in the weeds, and I'm walking down the interstate and I just remember thinking like no one has any idea this is really how life is. It doesn't matter how successful you get, like you're still just an idiot like with picking up groceries off the side of the freeway. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, that's a Tony Robbins thing. He talks about, you're never going to get to a point where you don't have problems. You just have bigger problems, better problems.
Higher quality problems, exactly. Yeah. Okay.
I remember, real quick, so the last time I had like a regular, hourly wage job, I quit it to play blackjack, which may or may not have been the best idea I ever had. I had fun. But I remember getting to this point where I was super stressed, but now I was stressed about needing to buy a safe because I needed somewhere to put all of my cash. And I feel like that's a great problem to have.
Dude, do you want to just talk really quickly about your stack, like your software stack, your tool stack? Like, what does it take to run this business?
Okay.
Wait, hold on. I know why you're laughing. I got to say this. Right after you left town, I wrote a blog post, and I was essentially on FBA Mastery. I was essentially mocking people that don't have barcode scanners. And I said, if you see someone outsourcing in one of your sources and they don't have a barcode scanner, they're not a real seller, and you can instantly dismiss them as being in any way a threat to you. And you texted me, you're like, dude, I don't have a barcode scanner. I did 10 grand this month. It's like, oh, wow. So how simple are you keeping it right now? What's your stack?
Okay, so I have Inventory Lab, which if you're doing volume is a godsend. Basically, you punch in all of your shit. So you punch in, where did I get this? How much did it cost? How much am I listing it for? And it'll print out labels for you. If there are expiration dates, it'll print the expiration dates right on the label. And then it just tells you, it sends it all to Amazon, tells you what's going where, how to pack it all, and then it saves all that information. So it'll tell you, you paid X amount for this shipment, your profit is this much on it, and it holds all that. So at the end of the year, you can actually see, 30% of my profit came from this supplier, to keep going back there, all that jazz. You can also put in like mileage and other expenses. Super great. It comes with a tool, a sourcing tool called Scoutify. And I use Scoutify for all of my scouting. It's It's super great because you can scan stuff and you put in like on average, I pay 25 cents a pound to ship to Amazon. So you can put all that in. So it'll pull off all the data from Amazon on the product, and it will tell you, after shipping it in, after paying Amazon fees, after all of that, at the point that you're paying, what is your profit? So that's awesome. It takes a bunch of guesswork out. And once you decide to buy it, you can add it to a buy list on the app. And when you go to list with Inventory Lab, you can import that whole buy list. So you don't have to type anything in anymore. And super, super, super streamlined. The other thing that I use is Scoutly specifically for books. Scoutly's awesome. It shows you basically sales rank, average sales rank, which if you've been following Peter, you understand the importance of average sales rank over like regular sales rank. It is essential. But yeah, it'll show you other sellers, and then you actually have access to Keepa charts on there. It's awesome. But I think aside from that, the only other thing that I use is a label resizer for my shipping labels. And yeah, very simple, very streamlined.
So dude, that's insane. That's insane. That's like 20 grand a month, and your fixed expenses are, I don't know I forget what Inventory Lab costs, but like $50 a month.
$50 a month. Yeah, it's $50, and then I think for the tier of label resize that I'm on, it's like $10.
That's insane. That's insane. Okay, so dude, before we go, do you have any quick anecdotes about, you've been on the road for just over 100 days. We had to pause there in the middle of the interview. 101 days. Do you have any anecdotes from the road, either defeats or successes, anything you want to share? It'd just be interesting.
Yes. So I was in Louisiana, and I decided I was done with Louisiana, going to Texas. So on the way, I stopped at a Walmart. And while I'm there, I'm going through, just checking out the clearance section. And I see some guy, he's got the phone out, he's doing the thing. And I walk up to him, and I'm just like, I've been on the road for about a month now, and I think you're the first person I've seen, scanning Walmart clearance. He goes, oh, well, I'm actually an Amazon third-party seller. And I was like, I know. I noticed. It takes one to know one. And it was cool because we were just hanging out, shooting the shit. He starts telling me about some like crazy score that he has, some crazy replen. Wouldn't tell me where he gets it though. But yeah, it was super wacky to me because I remember like doing that. That kind of like we just touched on. I got out of there. I think I had like a $1,500 day that day. And I get out of there and I'm driving to Houston, and I get like an hour from Houston, and I realize I have no idea what to do in Houston. I have no idea where I'm going. I literally just set the GPS for Houston. So I pull over real quick, and I'm looking at what's in Houston, and I just set my GPS for this vegan bakery. Super cool place. It's called Sinful. If you're ever in Houston, everything there is. And I wake up at like 8 a.m. to the owner just like tapping on my window, asking if I'm okay, because everyone just showed up, and there's some dude sleeping in his car in the parking lot. And I'm kind of like, this is what making $1,500 in one day looks like, is sleeping in your car in the parking lot of a vegan bakery in Houston. It was a good time. It was a good day. I'll always remember it.
Dude, never too good or too big to sleep in your car. It keeps us hungry.
Never. Exactly.
Awesome, man. Okay, so listen, I want people to reach out to you. I want people to follow you, first of all. You've been dropping some serious wisdom, FBA Danny on Twitter. So people can find you there. I'm going to link to it below this video. You're going to see that. So head over there literally right now and follow Danny, because he is dropping some threads that are you want to get these guys that are doing it. Would be, how amazing would it be? Think about your favorite like guru or whatever. Imagine catching them in their early days before their guard is up. Danny's just dropping stuff left and right. He doesn't have a course. He has nothing to sell. He's just literally sharing it for the sake of sharing and helping other sellers. So head to his Twitter, follow him immediately. Danny, any closing words?
Who dares wins.
Dares win. Wait, dude, what was the thing you said? I think I got cut off in the last interview, but you said your comfort zone is where dreams go to die. Can you just repeat
Yes,
that?
comfort zones are where dreams go to die. And I was thinking about this afterwards. You're only young once to do it.
Dude, Danny, thank you. Everyone's going to follow you on Twitter. So get prepared to drop some more threads. And thanks so much for sharing your wisdom.
Hey, my pleasure.
All right, last thing. In addition to following Danny on Twitter, if you want to build a whole business off of what I give away for free as well, you can hit the link below this video. Go to fbamastery.com. Get free reports, free web classes. And I got to mention, subscribe to my YouTube channel, like this video. Thank you guys for watching. See you in the next video.